Welcome to Secrets from the Saddle podcast. I'm Sylvie, your host, fellow cyclist, bike club founder, cycling coach, bike race junkie, just truly super passionate about cycling. My journey with cycling started 20 years ago when I opened a spin studio, started a women's race team, and founded a women's only cycling club called Cycle Fit Chicks. I'm super thrilled to reveal all aspects that make the world of cycling operate. I'm so excited to be able to bring you interesting people from around the world, pro cyclists, recreational cyclists, coaches, event organizers, bike shop owners, everything and everyone you need to know or ever wondered about when it comes to cycling. I know you'll enjoy this episode. All right, everybody, welcome back to the episode of Secrets from the Saddle, All Things Cycling Podcast with your host, Sylvie Dow. And we have Kristen Bonkoski of Idaho,
yes.
Right? Yes.
That's right.
Yay! Idaho, we just went over this 2 seconds ago. She is the founder of BP Cole Cycling Media. But what we're going to be chatting with Kristen about today is how she founded and started the Rascal Rides. Now, before we get into that, she also has a podcast called FEMME Cyclist. And for what I'm on there, she interviewed me not too long ago, so you can find my episode there. But she also has a podcast as well. So I love supporting females in cycling and podcasting and all things coaching as well. So happy to have you, Kristen.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be on the other side.
I know, isn't this fun?
Yeah,
we just interview each other.
Yes.
So the first question I always ask is how you got into cycling, how it brought you to, I guess, I don't know what came first, your media company or Rascal Rides or FEMME, your podcast, but I just want to know how you got into cycling first and where did it take you from there?
Okay, well, that's all a long story.
That's a long question. I know, that's a big question.
So let's see. Going back to the beginning, I actually started biking as a kid, and both of my parents are pretty active cyclists, and they just made sure that we were always like outdoors and doing things. And the really funny part about it is that when I was a kid, on Saturday mornings, my parents would make us bike to breakfast. And it probably wasn't even that far. I don't know, like 3 miles or something.
That's a great motivation.
But I hated it. I would cry. I like the whole way there, there'd be like snot coming out of my nose. I just hated it. And my parents didn't care. They made me go. And I think that's kind of a funny start to my cycling, was that I really didn't like it for a lot of years as a kid.
I'm glad you turned that around, because
right?
I can see that being like one of those things that, you know, it's like me and my mom made me cross country ski and I just like, oh my God. It's like now all my friends cross country ski. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I get into it.
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, we got to make it as fun as possible for our kids, but there is also a certain point where you just have to kind of force them to go sometimes. And
it's true.
Hope that someday they will thank you for it. And I think
it is very true.
In my case, it has worked out. So, but I hated biking for a lot of years. When I was finally in high school, I had done ballet my whole life. And for several reasons, I quit going to ballet. And I really didn't know what to do with myself. I was in that strange teenage time where you're like, who am I? Where do I fit in the world? And I started going on road rides with my dad. And he had this bike, like a really old spare road bike from like 1970. And it didn't work really well. And it probably didn't even fit me very well. But I just started going on these like little rides with him. And they weren't very long at first. And then I decided I wanted to do a century ride with him. So I went from like not really riding at all to going and doing this century ride, which is not advised, right? Not advised at all. But I went and I showed up and I remember I was there in like my gym shorts and my tennis shoes. And I could not believe that all these people in their kits and their fancy bikes. And I felt so out of place. And I was also probably the youngest person there. And I had my hair in little braids and everybody called me Pippi Longstocking. And
oh my gosh. If anybody knows who Pippi Longstocking is, I think you just dated yourself.
Oh, totally. Anyway, and so I did this. I finished this century ride and went on to do a couple other really big events with my dad. And then in college, I ended up finding mountain biking, and that's like my true love. I love to mountain bike. And spent like most of my adult life just being so excited about bikes and going to work and getting off work and biking, going on like my honeymoon. We went on a mountain bike trip to Europe. And then in my late 20s, I found out I was pregnant. Not planned. At the time, I didn't even have any friends with kids, and I certainly did not have any friends with kids who biked. So it was this whole world, like, how do I balance the two? How do I figure out how to take my toddler, my baby, on a bike ride with me? And I didn't know, like, we had to figure it all out on our own. And at that same time, I was a project manager at Boeing. I was working like 60 hours a week, and now I'm a new mom, and it was really hard trying to do project management and be a mom and bike and all the things. So at that point, I realized I wanted to leave the corporate world, and I needed to figure something out. And so at the same time, I was trying to figure out how to bike with kids, and I was needed to leave my job. I started a blog about biking with kids, and I just basically shared everything that I was learning. And as we tried out different trailers and different bike seats, I started like reviewing them and sharing that information with other parents. And at the time, like, there's lots of information out there about it today, but at the time there was not a lot on the internet. And so that's how Rascal Rides was formed. Just trying to help figure things out for myself and also help other families along the way. And then a couple years after that, I expanded into women's cycling also, and that's when I started FEMME Cyclist.
So how many kids do you have?
Just one.
Just one? Oh my gosh, you didn't try for two?
No, I actually ended up, after he was born, I had a really bad blood clot. I found out I had a blood clotting disorder. That was the twist too. In the whole story. So I just ended up with like PTSD and really bad postpartum depression from that. And by the time I wanted another kid, he was like 7, and it felt really late to start over. We were finally doing awesome bike rides together as a family and all that. So no, I just have the one.
Because I remember because I have 3 kids, and me too, like I went through that, like how to, we are deep into cycling, and what we did is we got a chariot.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so they've been around for a long time. So that was like 20 years ago. And I just remember strapping my daughter in her, not even in her car seat.
Okay.
I rolled her up. I had to double, and I just laid her on the seat and strapped her in and went for a bike ride.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't very long. Like, it was just on the bike path.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm getting out. And then I just strap her in the car seat in the chariot and go for bike rides. And that's how that went. And yeah, those were the days.
Right. Good training, though. Good training.
I know. Yeah. I know. I used to go up. Yeah. Like, people remember me passing them on with a trailer, just like, I gotta go out and join people and ride with everybody, but I've got my chariot, my daughter behind me. I still did go to some group rides, but I was just like, let's just stay at the back.
Yeah. That's okay. That's that season of life anyhow.
Yeah. So tell us how you formed Rascal Rides, like, and how long ago, just tell us about the business and how it goes. So if anybody's in Idaho, you go find this, or is this
no, this is just online. So this is the website, rascalrides.com. We have all kinds of like product reviews, as well as just like tips, or we have a page on what bike parks are good to take kids to and that kind of thing. So
is that across the United States, or is it just
the United States? We have people from all over the world come on the website.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay, so how does it work?
So you just go to rascalrides.com. We've got like reviews there. We have all kinds of articles. It's primarily article based, but we also have videos. We have a YouTube channel.
Nice. So any mom who is a new mom and rides can go on there, or if not, or if maybe you're just getting into being active and you have a new child,
right?
Don't stay at home. Go to Rascal Rides.
Yes.
And figure out how you can, because you can, right?
Totally. Absolutely.
Like,
yeah, like you can either do what you did where you start with like a really tiny baby, and that's against like everything the American Association of Pediatrics tells you.
I know. I just like
in reality, like other places in the world, they bike with babies. We just don't in the United States or in Canada, right? Like North America isn't quite as bike forward as the rest of the world is.
Yeah.
So there are ways you can strap your baby in your bike trailer. There are cargo bikes that have like a bucket.
Oh yeah.
You can strap a car seat in there. The Chariot, the Burley, they have infant slings you can put in.
Yes, that's right. They got infant slings too.
Yeah. So if you want to be really safe, wait until a year old. But if you want to be like
super keen,
yeah,
like me
or whatever, yeah, there are ways to try to do it as safely as possible.
Yeah, I guess don't follow my example, but
no, I personally am all for it. I just, for folks that want to know like what would your pediatrician say, they'd probably say wait till a year old.
Yeah, I think, or until the baby can like hold their head.
That's right. Like their
hold their head, their nest sticks.
And the other problem is like with a really young baby, their neck's not strong enough to put a helmet on them too. So that's the other part, right? Is that you have to bike with your baby without a helmet on them.
I just figured that since they're in the car seat, like that's pretty bomb proof.
Yeah,
I like
agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. We drive with them, and that's super dangerous, right? So
yeah. So tell us. So you started. What happened? You started with Rascal Rides, and then how did it migrate over to the FEMME Cyclists portion?
So let's see. Then
I'm not sure where your video went.
I'm trying to come back.
Oh, these minor details, right? So Kristen's got a podcast, as she mentioned. Oh, there she is.
I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah. So you started Rascal Ride. So that's it's all online. Is for moms anywhere in the world to just access information, things. I'm gonna go check it out. I thought that you were actually doing rides. No. I guess that would make sense once your child starts getting a little bit bigger. But the other thing for women, how did that start?
So in, I don't know what year, but the year before my son started kindergarten, we decided to go and do a year-long road trip.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. And it was at that point that I quit my corporate job. I decided to take Rascal Rides on full time, and it wasn't making quite enough money to support me. So I was like, well, I'll start another website. This one's called For Women. So I've done this for families. Now I'll do it for women. Same business model. And that one has been really special to me because, I just like really love to encourage women to ride. I think that so much of the media out there is for men, and so much of the advice we get is based on information that's for men. And it's just been great to like try to create a little space for women to get information.
Right. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So share about what exactly is on FEMME Cyclist besides the podcast part.
Yeah. So we have a blog, articles. It's not just me. I've got like a whole team of writers. We do all kinds of like tips and tricks. We do product reviews. We have a YouTube channel where we teach like little basic bike maintenance things. And the whole thing is focused primarily at women who are like newer to the sport, like very basic information. One of our most popular articles is about how you shouldn't wear underwear with your bike shorts, right?
Oh
like
my gosh,
these things that like seem very obvious to us now, but you don't know when you first start out, and somebody has to tell you, and nobody tells you, you just don't know these things.
I know, that's so funny because I was actually asked to talk to a group of women who are triathletes about this very topic.
Yeah.
Of not wearing your underwear. And I've actually done a podcast episode on that as well. Which is kind of funny because it is true. Like within my women's cycling club, I not that I do this, but I do. Because like when we start out at the beginning, I do this little speech about and no underwear with your bike shorts. And everybody's like, what? And I'm like, and
I
then
like when they push back too. They're like, no. I am gonna wear underwear with my bike shorts.
No. So do you want yeast infections? No. And then sometimes I'm like, are you wearing underwear with your bike shorts?
Yeah.
Just like point it out.
Yeah.
Just maybe they forgot, they didn't get that memo, but it is kind of, yes, it's a seasonal thing, right? As soon as you get somebody new, it's kind of like, and this is one of the number one things you don't do.
It's so true.
Like, oh, thanks. Yeah.
It was funny because I put something on Instagram about it. And everybody was like shocked. I got so many messages like, are you kidding me? I've been riding my bike for like 4 years with
I think we should tell men too. There's plenty of men who wear boxer shorts. You can tell, like, that's gotta be uncomfortable. Like, dude. So can I ask you, Kristen?
Yes.
How do you use both of them to make an income for you?
Oh, great question.
I know, I want to know.
Yeah. Okay. So the number one thing is affiliate marketing. So if I recommend a pair of bike shorts, for instance, and you go and buy that pair of bike shorts, then I get a percentage of the sale.
Okay.
Then the next thing is display advertising. So on the site, if you're just reading an article about like how to pump up a bike tire, you'll see display ads on there, and I make a few cents on that. And then for the podcast, and we've just done some like brand deals. Like, so for the podcast, for like a little blurb in our newsletter, things like that. We don't do that a lot, but that's another thing, would be like brand deals.
Now, those provide enough?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, the number of people every month searching for kids bikes or like best kids bikes, it's a huge number of people. And a lot of them aren't cyclists like us. They're just parents who want to like buy their child a good bike and do research ahead of time. And so they'll come to my website and I tell them, like, honestly, this is what the best bike is for your child. And then they go buy it, then I get a percentage of that sale.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
See, this is something I need to set up. Maybe I'll have an off. So is that where your BP Cole cycling media comes in?
Right. So BP Cole is actually like the parent brand. It's my LLC. And then I have multiple DBAs underneath that. So Rascal Rides and FEMME Cyclist are both DBAs, which means doing business as.
Oh, okay. So when
I don't know how it works in Canada, but like in the United States, you can have one like corporation or LLC, which is a limited liability corporation. And then you can do business under that one LLC, doing like multiple brands.
Right. So that's where you track all your income, pay your taxes, things like that.
That's correct. Yep. And I used to do a lot of freelance writing too. So I would also use that for freelance writing and that kind of thing, but I don't really do that anymore.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
Since my son was a year old, and he's 11 now, so 10 years.
My God, my son's 11.
Okay.
Jesus. Yeah. I need to get my game together. I've just been like doing the cycling club thing. I'm like,
which is awesome too. That's something I haven't done yet, and I would love to do in the future. So,
well, it's awesome if you got, it's a lot of time, and it doesn't pay.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, you've got lots of. The thing is that I want to say, I can't say badly about that, but because I've had my club for 15 years, but I kind of started my club just as a way to navigate women to other things that I was doing. And it has since changed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say much more than that, but And now I'm going to navigate more to what like something like you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that in the grand scheme of things, I can service more people.
Yeah.
That way.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. So can you tell us any more about what it is that they can like where they can find you, things that are happening like maybe this fall?
Yeah. So we have at FEMME Cyclist. You can come, like, one of the easiest places to find us is just on Instagram, which is at FEMME Cyclist. And that's sort of a hub. So we post like all of our YouTube videos, all of our articles, everything there. In terms of things that are coming up for FEMME Cyclist, we are going to start creating training plans. I am a USA cycling coach, and I've got a couple other coaches who are working with me. And that's like something I actually haven't even mentioned anywhere yet, but that is upcoming. And it's going to be very much focused on women who are beginners who maybe want to do their first century ride or their first cross-country mountain bike race or something like that. And then we also have a new line of like merch coming out. So that'll be new too. Yeah.
Very cool. Maybe we can affiliate together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll take that offline.
Okay, sounds
good.
But
Yeah, because I have an online cycling program.
Yeah, yes.
That people can register for. And
really cool too.
Yeah, because I just finished putting it all together. It starts in November, but it's through Zoom. It's got cycling skills and technique. It's got Swift integrated into there too.
Cool.
Group rides, intervals, all sorts of things. And I did it full on last year with my group and came out great results for a lot of us. And a lot of people are doing for different reasons. Mine was event. I had a guy, Carl. We had one guy, our token guy, Carl, super nice guy. But he's just like, when you find that one guy that's just like really into like his own mess, like he's not intimidated. He's the only guy with all these women.
Yeah.
And he was just such a great contributor. So anyways, I let him stay.
I love it.
Yeah. And then we had ladies who were touring with their husbands, so they wanted to get fit for them.
Yep.
And then so Carl was an event, I was an event. Ladies just to stay fit over the winter because we get snow. I'm not sure you guys get snow too.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we all kind of migrate inside unless it's nice enough for you to ride year round, which I'm not sure. Not some people do, but it's not me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, people come in for a variety of reasons, or they just want to build up their endurance base to be able to ride 100K by the end of the winter, right into like gravel race season or ride season or event season. So yeah, we should work out a deal.
Yeah, sounds good. We will chat offline.
Perfect. So, all right. So everybody can find them. Find Kristen. You got Rascal Rides for parents with kids.
Yep.
We both encourage you parents to get kids on bikes, get moms on bikes, dads on bikes, and then the FEMME Cyclist portion for the moms, the ladies, and so. What else can you say, Kristen, before we tie it all up?
Oh, just that, I think that for women, it is so hard sometimes if you're a mom to like fit it all in. And I think that is partially the reason too, that I love what I've done with Rascal Rides is just showing that you don't have to do like family and biking. You can blend the two together. And it's really hard in the beginning. There are a lot of years where you are hauling that heavy trailer behind you. You got kids there. You got the girl riding to breakfast, crying and snot running down her face and all that. But if you stick through it and like all those hours you spend are so worthwhile, because eventually, like if you're lucky enough, you have a son like mine who's 11 now and is so fast and such a good rider. And I just feel like all of those years of the hard work have paid off, and that I don't always have to just leave him at home and go ride by myself, that it's something we can do as a family.
Oh my God.
So
that is a good point.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I do love what you say about putting in the years.
Yeah.
It's not the days, it's not the hours.
It's years.
It's the years
It is.
of hard work.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. And if you could stay strong, you will get kids like that.
Yep.
I think I better go back to the drawing board, because no, I really do want to be able to ride with my kids, and they're getting older and they're getting further away from, you know what I mean, being that kid.
Yeah. I think too, I mean, every kid is different, obviously. But I think too, there are times where you kind of have to back off, right? Like
you don't want them to die, hate it.
That's right. And like, there have been times where my son was like, I don't want to ride bikes anymore. I'm just done. This isn't fun. And then, so we backed off, and then he ended up finding his thing. He really likes BMX, which is something I had never tried before. That wasn't even really on my radar as a thing. And he got into BMX, and that rekindled his love of biking. And so just allow these phases where maybe they're not biking as much, and you back off and hope that the seeds you planted will pay off in the next phase, and they might come back to it. And maybe they won't, but either way, you've modeled something good for them, that being active is important, that having a passion is important. And if their thing ends up being soccer or baseball or whatever, that's too bad, but hopefully they find something that's a passion for them.
It's really too bad. Maybe you could ride your bike to your soccer practice.
Yeah.
I know, right? That soccer thing, seriously.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I totally agree. And I hope a lot of parents have found this informative and a great location to find information. I'm going to go start digging in there too. I just want to thank you, Kristen, for coming on the podcast and sharing everything that you do for families.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
All right, everyone. Thanks very much. And make sure that you follow the podcast on Instagram at Secrets from the Saddle Podcast, as well as on YouTube. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great evening or a great day. And don't forget to watch for our next episode. Thanks. All right. And there you have it. Oh my God. Well, Kristen and I just finished chatting about how we can link up and create an affiliate system with my winter training programs, offering a discount or the services to her audience, which is super amazing, because it's really hard to get the word out about something a lot of people can benefit from, especially women getting into cycling over the winter. And so anyways, it's just it's amazing that we got connected. I love making connections like this, because I feel that just super beneficial. So with that, have an amazing day. Don't forget to check her out, Rascal Rides and FEMME Cyclist. All the links will be in the show notes. So take care and have an amazing day. Bye.
Thank you so much for spending this time with me on the Secrets from the Saddle podcast, learning more about sighting people, places, and things that make cycling such an exciting sport. I am so glad you stopped by today. Please leave me a review if you feel so moved to do so. I would love to hear your feedback. And if you could take 1 second to share this episode with someone you think would enjoy it, I would be forever grateful. Also, if you could please leave me a review if you feel so moved by going to iTunes and leaving me an honest thought and an honest comment, telling me what you think, and most importantly, tell me what you'd like to hear more of. It would really help me to bring more great, inspiring cycling stories to you. Until then, have an amazing day, make sure you ride your bike, and don't forget to visit my YouTube channel if you'd like to see the full version of this podcast live.